PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
Welcome to PCN. On this week's show, we bring you to a country western night in Duxbury, a popular softball game in Pembroke, and our pet health segment is back with nail-cutting tips.
We also meet some residents in our communities, the family behind the Bramhalls Country Store in Plymouth, and the owner of Open Space Dance Studios, which just moved to Kingston. Town
Talk has Duxbury's town manager on set, and we begin with a revisit to the Duxbury Community Gardens. In early spring, we stopped over to the community garden in Duxbury just as the local farmers were planting their seeds. Just like that, time flew by and the wonder of nature took over and turned those seeds into beautiful flowers and vegetables. We went back in time to capture the harvest day.
If you listen closely, you can hear the cries of the carrots and the cucumbers because today is harvest day, and for them, it's the apocalypse. But if you're one of the farmers, it's a great day. And we were just here a few months ago, so to see the garden as blooming as it is right now is just amazing. So why don't we take a look around and see how things have shaped up?
Well, I think that the last time that you were here, we only had a few very small things growing in the plots, and as you can see, things have shot up here all summer long. We've got 23 plots here, and they've all been extremely active all summer long. Quite a lot of people call this harvest time, but we've been harvesting here ever since July, end of June or July or so. And quite a few people are on their second crops.
Years ago, this community garden was Jim Savicki's brainchild, and now it's literally come to fruition. Whether it's tomatoes, which are very popular, eggplants, carrots, corn, or even just flowers, people are planting things, and they're growing.
This is a plot that was planted by the kids in grades 6, 7, and 8. And you can see they have quite a few tomatoes. They have quite a few peppers coming in here.
This section over here was a pile of compost when we were here back in May. A few pumpkin seeds later, and now it's a virtual pumpkin patch. So it's really just the awesome power of nature on full display. Sunflowers are the order of the day here as well, and they don't take too much maintenance. Just plant them in the corners of your plot, and they can grow as high as 7 feet. As you can see, this one here can't support its own weight, but it's still magnificent. Of course, not everyone has the time to commit to their plots, so it can sometimes get overgrown. But just the fact that there's growth here at all shows that the program is working and has gotten the locals involved in growing their own crops.
It's a great program for the community because an awful lot of people don't have any place to grow stuff at their own house. They might be in a condominium somewhere, or they might have too much shade on their properties.
At Duxbury Community Garden, I'm Brian Sullivan, PACTV Community News.
I love this garden because it has people of all different ages. You know, they get the kids part of it and just teaching them how to grow things and just everyone coming together. I think it's a great place.
It's awesome. Jim Savicki, super nice guy too, and he could talk about gardening until the cows come home. And it was really neat to go back there. What was it? Only like 4 months later.
Was it 4 months?
4 months, and
that's sunflower. Oh.
And that wasn't even the first harvest. He mentioned that a lot of people, that was their second and third harvest.
Wow.
So the stuff just grows that fast, and it's beautiful there. Really nice. I had a lot of fun. Open Space Dance Studios, a local dance company, has moved from Plymouth to a new home in Kingston. PCN stopped in to see the new spacious facility, meet the owner, and learn more about her love of dance.
We just opened 2 weeks ago with our dance team, kids only, and we're starting new students in the fall. So far, it's been great. We have a lot more space here, and it's a much nicer studio than what we're used to. I opened Open Space Studio 5 years ago. We started out in downtown Plymouth, and we moved to a different location in Plymouth, and now we've moved to Kingston. so we can service more families. We actually like to have inclusive classes, and we do offer dance for children with special needs. So if they're high functioning autistic or they may have Down syndrome, we will take them here. Last year at Open Space, we scholarshiped 15% of our students. We want all kids to have the opportunity to dance, whether or not money is available. So we do have a scholarship program that parents can come and talk to us about.
I teach tap and jazz specifically, and I love working with these kids. They're really talented, and they did really well at competition. They're about to do a breast cancer performance at the Providence Bruins. That should be fun.
I teach the baby movement classes, the Mommy and Me, the Tot and Parent, some preschool sessions as well. Some of the littler kids, the Mommy and Me is very teaching the little ones how to use their senses and use, start with movement in a way that, is fun for them, with parachutes and puppets and maracas and games that get them engaged with their parents. The same with the Parent and Top, but just a little bit more moving around. And then the preschool session is for maybe kids that aren't completely ready for a recital class, but are pretty close, and they can learn about it and decide whether they want to make a go of it with a recital. So,
ballet is something that I've done all my life. I started when I was 5 years old. My parents were very poor, and my mom always wanted to take ballet when she was a child, couldn't afford to. So when they had a baby girl, they said, oh boy, ballet classes. My first ballet class, I fell in love, and I've been dancing ever since. My biggest gift, I think, is the love and the joy that I have for ballet that I love to give to other children. I was lucky to have a great education, not only in ballet studios, but in college I majored in theater and dance and choreography at Smith, and I went to Harvard's summer school intensive program. So ballet and musical theater are my life. That's what I do. When I first started teaching, I put into place all the things that I learned when I danced with the Boston Ballet, as well as in other studios where I taught my own primarily. And teaching the children is something where you give them confidence and poise. You teach them the love and the joy of the art and the respect for other dancers, for themselves, and for the art itself. Each child needs to be taught in a different manner in terms of it's what they need. It's not what I want to give them, it's what does each child need. So you're a different teacher to every child.
This month, the 6th annual Pembroke Chamber softball game took place with the Chamber staff facing off against the police and fire departments. The fun-filled game is a favorite in town, and proceeds this year benefited the Pembroke Titans Against Drugs organization. PCN was there for the opening pitch and to capture the spirit of this community event.
Hi, my name is Mike Cogburn. I'm the founder and chairman of Pembroke Titans Against Drugs. We're here at the softball fundraiser event to benefit Pembroke Titans Against Drugs. I'm playing on the Chamber of Commerce team with a lot of local business owners and business participants. We're playing against the Pembroke Police and Fire Departments, and they voted to give all the proceeds from this to Pembroke Titans Against Drugs. So I'm excited to come down and play, regardless if I'm any good at softball. We're trying to raise money for our foundation. Pembroke Titans Against Drugs exists to help with drug abuse prevention efforts for kids in Pembroke.
Well, I'm Dave Shea. I'm the president of the Pembroke Chamber, and I have been president since 2010. The money we're collecting is going to a tremendous cause, and I think anybody in the area is quite aware that drugs in the schools has become rampant and a major, major problem. And so this year we're raising money for Pembroke Titans Against Drugs, a local nonprofit organization that is trying to get to the kids at the grassroots level, educate them on what they need to know about drugs, why they need to make good, sound decisions. And this takes money to get the education out there, to get speakers coming in, the speakers that kids really respect and listen to. This has become a bigger event than just the game this year. We started this 6 years ago. In past years, it's strictly been half a dozen or so police officers, half a dozen or so firefighters against members of the chamber. And
And now we wanted to make this a community event. We have the Remax hot air balloon down here that'll be tethered and going up some 70 feet and taking people up, which is a kick. We have Blades, the Bruins mascot, along with Gobbles, the Plymouth Pilgrims mascot, down here for the kids. I know Joe McDonald and the Sheriff's Department have a fingerprinting group down here, plus a canine demonstration. And the local police and fire have their local apparatus here as well for the kids to take a look at. So we're trying to turn this more into a family event because, after all, everybody in Pembroke, police, fire, business owners, citizens of Pembroke, we're all in this together, and we'd like to have a nice community event where everyone can have a great time and at the same time raise some money for a very worthwhile charity.
If you've never been to or heard of Bramhalls Country Store in Plymouth, you're probably not alone. But when you do go to this little family-owned farm stand and eatery, you just might feel like you took a step back in time. We stopped over on a sunny summer day to talk to the owner. I've driven by this place dozens of times and never really knew what it was. So I figured I'd stop in today and find out what Bramhalls Country Store is all about.
The building itself was 1750. Our family bought it in 1828 from Nathaniel Carver. That was my great-great-great-great-grandfather George, so 4 times great. It's been in the family ever since. It was a post office.
It's possible that when it was a post office, it was on the route designed by Washington between Cambridge and Hyannis. After serving as a cobbler's shop for a number of years, it eventually became a general store again.
My father, Wedge, back in the 80s, turned it back into a general store. And then we started taking it over again in, well, 2 years ago. So I own the store. My sister Sally does a lot of help in the kitchen. She's kind of the kitchen manager. And then everyone else in our family, my other sister Liz, my brother Sam, and my mom Jamie, all help out as well.
This tight-knit family operation likes to source locally, and a lot of times that includes its patrons.
Everyone who comes in says, you know, I remember you when you were this tall, and came here since Wedgie started doing it.
Besides the patrons, they like to keep their vendors close as well, which helps promote community and, more importantly, ensures that what you're getting is fresh.
90-something% of our farm stand is all local stuff. In general, we work with all local farms. There's one here in Plymouth called Holmes Farm. There's a few in Middleborough. And we try to do pretty much everything local. We use Hearth Artisan Bakery down the road. We use all local lobsters from all of our lobstermen friends.
Just up the road is a farm that belonged to their grandfather, which was farmed heavily in the 60s and 70s. But now, with less time to work with for farming, the family does what they can to provide for the store.
We grow mostly things that we can bring over here and actually process into food. So we might grow mint, kale, and basil and make pesto out of it, or we might grow tomatoes and make salsa.
Whether you're just passing through or if you've been coming here all your life, the family hopes the time you spend here is special.
The goal is to have kind of a unique outdoor, relaxed atmosphere for people to come and take advantage of the shade trees and the picnic tables and just kind of come and get away from the bustling atmosphere that most people are used to these days.
On Sandwich Road in Plymouth, I'm Brian Sullivan, PACTV Community News.
You know, Brian, Melissa, my coworker, told me, you got to do a story about this place. And it's just so quaint and interesting, and they have the most amazing corn. And I'm so going there now.
Yeah, go for the corn and stick around for all the other stuff. There was a woman there who I think bought maybe 20 ears of corn while I was filming, and she wasn't just doing it because I was filming. I think she was actually buying that much corn. So, yeah, really neat place, family run. I didn't get everybody in the family that is there, but still
multi-generational is
a real a real throwback place, and pretty neat too.
Yes, great. Another family-run place. The Windsor House in Duxbury has its claim to fame on the historical locations map, but it also has had its share of changes over the years. Several ownership changes have brought new ideas to add to the charm of this quaint restaurant and pub. PCN recently visited to meet the current owners on their country western night.
Well, we've been owners of this restaurant for 2 years, and we're looking for ways to bring a lot of fun and family time to the community. Mondays are quieter at the restaurant, and we decided to do a country western night with some square dancing. It's one of the things that I dearly love, and I think who couldn't use a little more of that in their lives. It is open to the public. We advertised it around town with small posters. There was not a lot of fanfare. We put an ad in the paper. And we just want to see if we could build a following and perhaps make this an annual event, which is our hope. Well, this is a former family home for a shipbuilding family, the Windsors, very prominent family in Duxbury, and they built the house in 1802. And Dan and Marie Windsor opened the restaurant in 1933. This was a more heavily traveled route to the Cape at that time, and this little property was not far off that path, and it was, I think, an instant success. This is an iconic place in the town of Duxbury, has been forever, and it's very central to the community geographically, and it's central to the hearts of everyone who lives here. And people who've moved away come back and want to visit the Windsor House when they come into town. And I love the idea of family events. I was fortunate to grow up in a family that did a lot of that kind of thing. And you just create them and you open your doors and say, come one, come all, and have a good time. And tonight we have a great buffet with ribs and chicken and cornbread and coleslaw and potato salad and fun summer things and a square dance caller and some music. I think it's going to be a great night. We have about 60 people coming, and we're thrilled to have that kind of success in year one. We are very intent on keeping up the momentum with as many events as we can get on the calendar. And we have the end of summer bash. This has been a glorious summer. We don't want to let go of it, and we want to celebrate everything that has been fun about summer 2015. We're going to do that on Monday night, August 31st, with a party here in the backyard. And again, families are welcome. It's all about families.
Our Pet Health segment takes us to Court Street Animal Hospital to get some helpful tips on the often difficult task of pet nail cutting.
Hi, my name is Norm Stillman. I'm one of the vets at the Court Street Animal Hospital in Plymouth. I'm here this week for PCN's Pet Health segment. This week I thought we'd demonstrate how to trim your pet's toenails. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it. And this week we have Wicklow, our cat volunteer, and also Ty, our dog volunteer, to help us demonstrate. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about anatomy first, and then we'll show you exactly how to get it done the right way. Unlike a dog, a cat's claws retract, and when you want to trim them, you have to push them out of their sheaths a little bit. All you do is take the cat's foot and then just gently press on the upper surface, and you'll see the claw emerge from its sheath, and then once it's out, you can trim it. Wicklow's nails are clear, so it's very easy to see where the blood stops and just the normal dead part of the nail begins, and that's going to make our life even easier. We're just going to take her foot, push that nail out, and then cut the clear part, but not the pink part. If you accidentally cut the pink part, Wicklow's going to let you know. It's going to hurt a little tiny bit, not the end of the world, but try not to do it. And again, if you accidentally cut her, just put a little bit of baking flour or powdered cinnamon on the end, and that'll stop the bleeding right away. She also has dew claws. Not every cat has ones as big as hers, but they all have them, and you have to make sure you don't forget that one too. Same thing on the back foot. You just press her nail out. Hers are actually pretty short already. Most cats don't need to have their back claws trimmed nearly as often as their front ones. Maybe for every 3 times you do their front, you do their back once. So here's Ty demonstrating what a dog nail looks like. Ty has black nails, which makes it a little more difficult because you can't see where the quick part of the nail is and where the part you can cut is. So in this case, we're just going to be kind of conservative. If you're really anxious about it, you can always use a little light. If you take a little pen light or your keychain flashlight and shine it behind the nail, sometimes you can see where the blood stops and the normal dead part of the nail begins. Normally, we would just take Ty, hold his toe out like this, and on the underside of the nail, there's a little scooped in part, and if you cut right where the scooped in part is, you'll never go wrong. So that's exactly how to do it. Come over to the second one here and just go like that. If you accidentally do quick your dog, make him bleed, it's not the end of the world, but all you do is take a little bit of powdered cinnamon and put it right on the edge of the cut nail there, and that'll stop the bleeding right away. Baking flour works just as well. And also a styptic pencil from your shaving kit can do the same thing. You just put it right on the cut tip there and that'll stop the bleeding. Don't forget that a lot of dogs have a little dew claw nail right here on their wrist. Sometimes it's hard to see, but that's the only nail that doesn't hit the ground, so it actually grows faster and wears slower. Make sure you don't forget that one.
This week's Town Talk brings us Duxbury's town manager, Rainey Reed. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
What is going on in Duxbury?
Well, we've got a couple of things that I think people might find of interest. We have a special town meeting occurring on Monday, October 5th at 7 o'clock. It'll be held at the Performing Arts Center in Duxbury, which is part of the high school, middle school complex. And we have a couple of articles that might be of interest to people. Namely, we have two articles concerning the operation and the concessions associated with North Hill Country Club.
Okay.
The golf course has been operated by an operator for the last 5 years, but we're going out to do a new lease. And we're looking at a 5-year lease with a 3-year extension, so it could be a total.
The same operator?
No, it's going out to bid, so it's going to be. It could be a new operator. It could be the same operator, but we're required by law to go out to bid. So what we'll do is we'll ask the voters to contemplate this new lease arrangement, which would be for the operations of the golf course. That means the golf course itself, where the people actually play on the course. Also, there's an article that contemplates the concessions part of the golf course, which is the clubhouse, essentially the bar and the restaurant facility. Right. So that could be bid by either the same person doing the operations of the golf course or a different contractor altogether. It could be a restaurateur who wants to try and get their foot in the game and see if they want to run a restaurant for 5 years with a 3-year extension. So we're pretty excited about it. It's a new direction for Duxbury, and we think it's going to work out pretty well. So we're asking the voters to show up again on Monday, October 5th.
Monday, October 5th,
It's 7 o'clock at the Performing Arts Center.
Performing Arts Center. Okay, so this is a pretty big topic in town.
It is. Yeah, the North Hill Country Club was the subject of some litigation a couple of years ago, having to do with a previous bid process, but we've changed the way we're doing business, and we're trying to clean that up and make it a smoother operation in the future.
Okay, great. So. And dredging.
Dredging, yeah.
Dredging is back.
That's right. It is back. It was on again, and then it was off again, and now it's back on again. And this time it's really happening. We're very excited about this. This is a $4.5 million project that was authorized by the federal government. We received funding from Congress, and we've got all of our permits in place. And this is going to be dredging the entrance channel from Plymouth Harbor into Duxbury Bay. It's about
a mile?
Yep, it's about 1 nautical mile from the entire channel length. And then it gets into the mooring basin where the deep water moorings are held, and that'll impact probably 200 to 250 vessels that are moored in there now. There's been tremendous amounts of siltation over the time since the last dredging was done.
When was the last dredging?
1997, so it's been quite a few years since we've been in there, and at least 1/3 of the mooring basin right now is silted in, so it's a big project for us to get squared away. Additionally, we'll also be dredging. Private entities will also be dredging using the dredging contractor that will be in there, most notably the Duxbury Yacht Club, the Maritime School, Bayside Marine, Battelle Laboratories, and of course the town. Because
they all time it together.
They do.
To hire them.
They do.
Themselves.
We anticipate that the project will start. The dredges will actually show up probably mid to end of September, and they'll be starting on the entrance channel. So they'll be out further in the bay, and then they'll work their way in. And we suspect that they'll be into the harbor probably by the end of October, and so that's when we have to make sure that all the people have their boats out of the mooring basin, and people are aware of that anyways, because boat insurance usually runs up until November 1st for recreational boaters. But we also have a huge aquaculture industry. It's a multi-million-dollar industry, so a lot of them will be impacted, like
oysters and Duxbury.
Absolutely, Island Creek Oysters and all of the affiliates. So we're very excited to have this underway, and it's going to be a great project once it's done, and they will be completed by December 31st.
And how does it work?
It's an interesting process. It's a mechanical dredge. There are two types of dredges. There's mechanical and hydraulic. Hydraulic is basically like a giant vacuum that actually sucks the sand or the silt off of the bottom. But in this case, because we have such tremendous siltation and we're not a sandy bottom, we're a mud bottom, they use a mechanical dredge, which is essentially a large excavator sitting on top of a barge that goes in, scoops out the sand, and then it turns it. The vehicle turns on the barge and dumps it into what's called a scow. And so they take that scow and it goes out by way of tugboat and they bring it to an offshore dumping site in Wellfleet. So it's a 24-hour operation.
Hours.
Yeah, they don't
For
stop.
months at a time.
Exactly.
Well, PCN will be sure to be doing a couple of stories, hopefully, about that. Get us out there with the harbor master, and we can do some update
Absolutely.
stories.
It's a fascinating process to watch.
You're going to inform the boaters and
Yep.
the people around there, and they can probably go to the website for more information.
Correct.
Right?
In fact, last night we updated the board again. We have sent out notification to all of the boat owners so that they're all well aware of this,
Great.
and they're all very happy to have it happening.
Good.
So.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it as always.
Oh, my pleasure.
Lots
My
going
pleasure.
on.
Yep.
Now you just gave me a whole bunch of new stories for Duxbury.
I'm
so
glad.
I'm excited
Glad
too.
I could help.
Thanks for watching this week's show. Summer is coming to an end, and we want to wish everyone going back to school a great year. PCN is booking its fall stories now, so if you have an idea, email me, kim@pactv.org. Please go to our website for information about the show, as well as previews and links to all our stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week for more PCN.